Good day dear chess lovers, Soren here, and in today's video I want to share with you another game played at the ongoing 2021 FIDE World Rapid Chess Championship. This is a game from round 7 where the reigning world chess champion Magnus Carlsen faced world number 2 second highest rated player Alireza Firouzja. But before starting the game, let's first take a look at the standings after 9 rounds. Magnus Carlsen is the sole leader of the tournament with 7.5 points. Then 3 players with 7 points share the second place, and then 9 players have 6.5 points. Okay, we're good to go with this game, and Carlsen with white pieces opened up with e4, to which Firouzja answered with his favorite Caro-Kann defense, a super solid opening on which he's relying very often. c4, not the most popular continuation, but seems like that Carlsen has found some gaps in this line and he's occasionally choosing this continuation. Earlier we have seen c4 line against Fedosseyev. Meanwhile, we have this h3 waiting prophylactic move by Carlsen, and let me tell you that very quickly the players are deviating from the main theoretical battle. Already I can't find any games with positions like this in my chess-based database. Nothing special at the moment, both players are hurrying to develop their pieces, and f6, black is undermining white's center in the style of good old French defense. C takes d5, c takes d5, e takes f6, queen takes f6. By the way, as you can see, I left Stockfish run in order you can see how the evaluation changes throughout the whole game. We have more or less equality, nothing special, and at the moment black is trying to organize a kingside attack, but that's not an easy task. Bishop goes on g4 targeting the pawn, black is neutralizing the threat, and an exchange of light-squared bishops also followed. Queen e2, knight f8, knight d1, bishop b6, knight e3, and rook g5. Look, the queen together with the rook can't do much on the king side, and it was better to move back the rook on f7. If knight g4, then rook e8. But in our game we have rook g5, and very soon Firouzja will understand his mistake and then will move back his pieces, his heavy artillery, all the way back. We can see that rook g3 is another sensitive move. It was not too late to play rook g6, but we have rook g3 and king h2 with a lethal queen f2 threat is on the board. That's why after rook g3, only then Firouzja moved back his rook on the 6th rank. Yeah, he lost a precious time. Knight g4. A good move, but not as strong as f5. Turns out that f5 could really destroy opponent's defense, you know. Here is one of the possible lines. And then now the threat is checkmate, and if h6, then knight takes d5, and suddenly black's position collapses, you know. In our game we have knight g4. Once again, a good move, and Carlsen is building up a slow attack. The knight can occupy the central square, but at the moment white wants to put his bishop on a3, f8 diagonal, b5, bishop d6, rook c3. Meanwhile, it's black bishop which is occupying that diagonal. Here's an exchange of rooks on c8 followed, knight e5. Well, black has a cramped position, somewhat difficult to play of course, but still Firouzja is holding. That f5 could really turn the table very quickly, but Carlsen hesitated, and now at the moment still black is doing great. g5. g5 is a move which is weakening the position too much. Look, it's not that it's a bad move, but as Firouzja has very little time on the clock, you then have to play very precisely, something which he failed to do. Better was going for an exchange on e5, and then again Stockfish says that you should play g5. g5 is good, but I don't know, maybe a more cautious rook f7 continuation is better, taking into consideration once again the fact that he was low on time, and playing these kind of aggressive moves is not that good. Of course, engine can hold that position, but we should also take into consideration the human factor. f5. Meanwhile, white is finally going for that f5 move, is going for a breakthrough, and h6. Well, playing queen c7, hitting on g3, and then knight g6 is better, but we have h6. Here comes king g2, a nice prophylactic move, moving away the king from the vulnerable diagonal. Also, I don't know, maybe in some points rook h1 h4 can be an idea, and king g8. So far so good, but on move 38 black is making a serious mistake. What else black could play? I don't know. The engine suggests queen c8, h5. h5 is really good. You are not allowing knight g4 jump, but in our game we have king g8, and after knight g4 suddenly turns out that black is now going to suffer heavy losses. How are you going to protect this pawn? If rook h7, then knight f6 check is coming, right? And now knight h6 is the threat, you can't play h5. So black played king g7, but it allows white to play f6 check, and yeah, already black is losing. That was a huge blunder by black, and under pressure finally he collapsed. The rest is just a matter of technique, you know. So one thing which I noticed in all these games is that all the time Magnus Carlsen is managing to build up a slow pressure, then at some point it becomes unbearable and his opponent is making a crucial mistake. Also, the psychological factor is also playing a key role, you know. When you understand that you're playing against world chess champion, it again puts such a huge pressure that at any moment you are ready to make a mistake. You have to have nerves of steel, you know. And yeah, black now can't do anything. Black's hands are just tied up, and yeah, victory is just a matter of moves. Rook f2, Carlsen is not even giving his opponent a single chance of counterplay. h4, rook h5, knight f7 check, king g8, knight g5, and finally at this point resignation followed. So right now f7, queen e5 check is the threat, and what else black can do? If queen d7, for example, very difficult to find a good continuation for black. Yeah, and then this queen e5 is coming, and if you play queen c7, keeping an eye on e5, then this time you are just losing the pawn on e6 and it's over. Yeah, that's why at this point resignation followed. A nice game by Carlsen, which I hope that you enjoyed. Let us know, what do you think about that line with c4 in advanced Caro-Kann? Are you playing that line? How good it is? Let us know in the comment section, please. What do you think about that continuation? And in the end, let's solve a chess puzzle, a simple one where the task is to win with the white pieces. As usual, we'll wait for your answer in the comment section. Thanks for watching, we'll see you in my next video.